In this video, we're looking at biblical time. How a day is a year. Okay, you have 12 hours day, 12 hours night. You have 6 months summer, 6 months winter. We're talking about biblical seasons, guys. And the month in the Hebrew is called a Kodesh. And you blow the trumpet on the Kodesh. And we're going to talk a little bit about the East Gate. But the Apostle John and the prophet Daniel are keeping the feast of Yahweh. And they are shown revelation. Okay, and they are shown the revealing of the Lord Jesus Christ based on particular times where they're keeping the feast and things happen. Okay, so a day is a year. 24 hours in a day. Okay, half of 24 is 12. And a year you have 12 months. Okay, you have 60 minutes in an hour, and you got 30 days in a month. 7 days in a week, 7 years in a Shemitah. 50 days to Pentecost, 50 years to Jubilee. You have 12 hours daytime, 12 hours nighttime, and 6 months summer, 6 months winter. That's biblical seasons, guys. That's what the Bible says about seasons. I know other places have fall and winter, but these seasons relates to the feasts of Yahweh. So in the first month, you have Passover. And you can see the blood moons followed these feasts in the menorah. We've shown you this. Okay, you have the first month, the seventh month, the first month, the 7 months, going over a period of 3 years and going over a period of 10 years. It starts again with the first month. We'll explain all this, guys, but the summer, okay, season is 6 months in the scriptures in the land of Israel. So just like a day starts with sundown, okay, that's also what you can see in this time period here of each period being 6 months, the seven-sided stone and the Enoch calendar. Each of those periods of 6 months starts, the summer time period starts in the first month. The winter time period starts in the 7th month. Okay? We'll explain this a lot. We know that the time is difficult for the people to understand when you have an old cow at a new gate. But this is very important for us because we are leading to the 1,260 days. The first day of the first month where the tabernacle is set in heaven. All right, guys, let's talk about my favorite subject, time, and God's perfect order in time. Seriously, I love it, love it, love it. I think it's so amazing. It's probably the specialty on this channel. But there are unusual ways that the Most High can instruct us of how He works, okay, how His ways are beyond our comprehension, where He can take one idea and concept and combine it with another to give us a message. That's what we can see in this menorah. So what happened is, when the children of Israel were in the wilderness, the Most High instructed Moses to make a menorah, okay? A candlestick. And in the candlestick, there were branches, and then at the top of each one would be a lamp, okay? So if we had something that could hold these and we had 7, there would be 7 lamps. So what this menorah does is it teaches us, it instructs us in the book of Revelation. So when we get to Revelation 1, John sees 7 candlesticks. Okay, those are 7 menorahs. And the lamps on the menorah represent these 7 assemblies, these 7 ecclesia. So the lamps are the 7 churches, the 7 ecclesia, okay? So that's the interpretation. Then what happens is there are branches to it. It's all made of solid gold. It's not made of wood covered with gold, all right? But then there's something called almond blossoms, and there's 4 almond blossoms down the center, and then there's 3 on each branch, okay? It says there's 4 in the center shaft, and then there's 3 branches either side, and in those 3 branches either side, there are also 3 almond blossoms, okay? So in those almond blossoms, actually we have almonds right here. We can see them. There's the cat. But here's the almond blossom tree right here, you can see. So this is the time it's blooming, okay? And there you can see them all, and you can see we have many growing right now. So what they'll do is they come out first, and then afterwards, they will have the almonds and everything else. Okay, so those almond blossoms are detailed. We're not going to get into a whole explanation of it. But basically, we found through the scriptures that those almond blossoms are eclipses. Okay, so that when we have the center shaft, okay, there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we found out that each one of those almond blossoms relates to the feast of Yahweh. Okay, so for example, you have in the first month, okay, you have the feast in the first month of Passover. Then we saw another blood moon eclipse happen in the fall, time of Tabernacles, okay, in the 7th month. Then, once again, the first month, once again, the 7th month. So that was the year. If we have this one and this one, this is the year 2014. And we have this one and this one, we have the year 2015. Well, those also continued into the next year, into 2016 in the Gregorian calendar, where those almond blossoms continue when there were also blood moons that fell in the first month and the 7th month. Okay, well, Leo, why is this important for us? Well, in this video, we're looking at these, the first day of these months, okay? The first month and the 7th month. We're going to look at the significance of the first day of each of those months and how it's a trumpet blast. A trumpet is blown, okay? And when the trumpet is blown, it heralds that period of time. That period of time is 6 months, okay? So this is how the book of Revelation is working, guys. It is a temple service, okay? And then there are certain times a year in a temple service where you have feasts, you have certain things going on, okay? One of those things, when you blow the trumpet, is the feast of the first month, okay? So you have 12 months in a year. Each of the first days of the first month, you blow the trumpet, okay? And it's like a Sabbath. Okay, it's a day of rest. So, for example, yesterday was the first day of the 12th month. The 12th month is the month with Purim. Okay, so what that means is that from now, another 2 weeks is the Feast of Purim, which comes in the middle of the month, all right? But it's the whole video here is not about this feast in the first month. What it is, it's about the prophetic significance of the timing of what's happening in the book of Revelation. So the idea and concept that we have is that it's like day and night. So it's like when we have Passover, you have Passover, that's the first month, okay? That eclipse or that feast heralds a 6-month period, okay? And then you come to the 7th month. So in the biblical timetable, guys, in the Feast of Yahweh, there's no New Year's. There's no New Year's. Rosh Hashanah is not in the Bible. Okay, that's a Jewish tradition, but that doesn't actually exist as a feast, okay? There's no Rosh Hashanah. Every month you blow the trumpet, but there are specific months, the first month and the 7th month, that the Most High wants to draw our attention to understand those, okay? Now, for most of you who are in North America and you're in Canada and UK, and this also all applies, guys, to all of you in the Southern Hemisphere, all of you in South Africa and Australia and New Zealand and others, you can just take it and reverse it. So like if there's a New Year's, let's say there was a New Year's celebration in the first month and we call that summer. Well, you would call that going into winter, all right? So that's how the feasts can actually mirror each other in the first month and 7th month. They can mirror each other in ways where if you have a different harvest season, you're a different part of the world, you can still keep them, okay? But biblically, in the land of Israel, there's really no spring and fall, guys. If there is, it's only a couple weeks. I mean, if you're there, it's hot and sunny and it never rains in the summer, and then it's cold and it's a rainy season in the winter. So biblically, there's really just 2 feasts, okay? So those 2 seasons, okay, are the feasts, okay? So it begins with that, and then you have another 6 months of harvest and everything else. But in Genesis 1:14, it says, now it was on the 4th day, okay, the 4th day, that the Most High said, let there be lights in the firmament. Now, lights there in the Hebrew is a word called ma'or. Okay, normally the word is hour for lights, okay, but this is a ma'or. And this same word is the word used for the lights of the lamps on the menorah. The priest would light, okay, the menorah. So what that's telling us is that the Most High on day 4, okay, what did he do? He let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day and the night. Okay, so the lights are, of course, the sun, moon, and stars. Okay, and there were two, let us know the signs of a day and night. Okay, not only that, there would be signs and 4 seasons. Okay, now seasons there is Moedim. So there are seasons. And then when we get to, okay, and then it says, and 4 days and years. Okay, so like a day is not too difficult to determine, but years are. So why do we need to know the days? Well, we need to know the days of the week. Okay, there's days of the week. The Most High rested on the 7th day of the week. So there has to be the known days of the week and years. We have to know the years. Okay, so all the signs contribute to the understanding of what the days of the week are, the years are. See that? Now, once the earth was destroyed with Noah and he makes his covenant with Noah, he says in Genesis 8:22, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night. Okay, see that? So you got summer, 6 months, winter, 6 months, day, 12 hours, night, 12 hours. Okay, that's the order of things. So a day is a year, can be a year. Okay, and we see this also in Psalm 74, verse 16. The day is yours and the night also. Okay, the day, so it's again day and night, you prepared the light. So in Hebrew, the word light here in Psalm 74 is ma'or. And the sun, and made the summer and winter. Again, how many seasons? Spring, summer, winter, fall? No. Summer and winter. Okay, so scripturally, there's really just 2 seasons. Now, the reason we go through all these details, now we're going to get through these details and go over this, because this is very important. We get to the book of Revelation, it should be contributing to the understanding of what is happening in an order. Things should be happening in time. Things should make sense. Okay? It's not just random things in the book of Revelation. What the book of Revelation is, it says, blessed is he who keeps the words of this book, keeps the words of this prophecy. All right, well, what is the prophecy teaching us? Well, that's what we want to find out. So once we study and we look at what's going on, we begin to see that clearly the feasts are being kept when we look at Revelation with John and the book of Daniel with the prophet Daniel, okay? So one of our core verses we mentioned early in the intro, Revelation 1:10, it says, John says, I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. Okay, so John was in the Spirit. John was shown the throne on the Lord's day, on the Sabbath. Okay, not just one day of the week, not just anything random, specifically on a day. Why? He's keeping the Sabbath. And I heard a voice behind me, or before, in a loud voice like a trumpet. He heard a voice like a trumpet. And then what happens? He says, I am Alpha and Omega. Okay, so then he's introduced to the Lord Jesus Christ in his glorified state in the millennium. But what's going on? We have a Sabbath. Okay, I was in the Spirit on the Sabbath, on the Lord's day. I heard behind me the voice like a trumpet. All right, well, what is this trumpet? Okay, well, we know that the trumpet is blown a couple times. The trumpet is blown on the first day of the first month. Okay? First day of the first month, the trumpet is blown for that month. Not only that month, that season. Okay? So we consider that, okay, well, this must be either the first month or the seventh month, which is going on here specifically, all right? All right, but the trumpet is also blown on the Sabbath and on the first day of the first month. Those may not be the same day, okay? Like, for example, yesterday was the first day of the 12th month, all right? Today is the second day, and that is a Monday, okay? So, I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day and the Sabbath. So there's a Sabbath going on, and there's a trumpet. So it blows on the Sabbath and on the first month. Now, we're going to see later that the first day is a Sabbath. So what we conclude is that what's happening here is the first day of the seventh month. That's specifically what this is. And we can find that. We find that over in Leviticus 23. In the seventh month, on the first day of the month, you shall have a Sabbath, a memorial of shouting or blowing of trumpets, a holy convocation. That's the Feast of Trumpets, all right? But this word Sabbath, okay, is a Shabbaton, okay? And it's specifically saying a Sabbath. So therefore, we conclude that the Sabbath, the Lord's Day here, is not just any day. It is the first day of the seventh month, all right? So there we can see that that John is keeping the Sabbath, okay? And not only that, he has a spiritual experience. He is in the Spirit as a result of that, right? All right. Well, also, Daniel likewise has, in those days, Daniel was mourning 3 weeks' days. If you read the original Hebrew, that's what it says. Okay, it says 3 weeks' days, yamim. Okay, so that means it's 3 weeks and 3 days. Okay, then it says in the 24th day of the month. Okay, we know that Aleph Tav, the same Aleph Tav that introduced himself to John on the first day of the seventh month. Okay, here he's visiting Daniel on the first day of the 24th. I mean, the first day of the first month. I'll explain how this works. So, because he was mourning 3 weeks, it wasn't until the end of that the angel Gabriel visited him. Thus, he began praying. If we subtract those 24 days from the 24th day of the first month, we come to the first day of the first month. Okay? So there we can see what's called the Kodesh. Kodesh means month. All right? Now, in your King James Bible, when I say Kodesh and I say month, the King James will say new moon. All right? But in the Enoch calendar, it's not necessarily the new moon. That's the beginning of the month. All right? So then, so that prayer begins on the first day of the first month, on the Kodesh. So Daniel is keeping that feast. That's when he begins his prayer. But he doesn't know it's going to go through weeks. He just keeps praying until he gets the answer. Well, we also see this in Revelation 4:1. It says, a door was opened in heaven, and the first voice, which I heard, is a trumpet. Now, really what that says is not just it's one voice. Okay, so that first voice is the first day. Okay, that's not the trumpet of the Sabbath, trumpet of the first day of the month, which is also a Sabbath. Okay, which I heard that blow the trumpet. So this is the trumpet, and you blow the trumpet on the first day of the first month, which you see in Numbers chapter 10, verse 10. Okay, now the distinction here of the first day of the first month and the Sabbath is also seen in Ezekiel. In Ezekiel, it's the east gate. So in Ezekiel, in the east gate, okay, the east gate of the inner court is shut 6 working days, but is open on the Sabbath and on the day of the Kodesh, the first day of the month, it shall be open. So the gate is open. Okay, so you open the gate on the first day of the first month. Okay, you open the gate on the Sabbath. Okay, every Sabbath, the gate, the east gate, is open. So what this is telling us is that each time it's open, it's a trumpet. It's a Sabbath. It's a day of rest. Okay. Now, this video, guys, is not so much on how to keep this particular feast. We're showing you and teaching you Book of Revelation, Book of Daniel, as we have been in this series of videos. Okay. So now we have an east gate. Okay, so the door was open in heaven. That's the east gate was open in heaven. All right, it's not just a random door. It's the east gate was open in heaven. When that was open, that's the first day of the first day of each month, okay? Now, Daniel sat in the gate of the king in Daniel 2:49. So thus we conclude that he is sitting in the east gate. The east gate is also called the gate of the king, which you can see in the book of Esther mentioned many times, okay? So we can see that the door is open. This is the east gate. You have the east gate opening on specific days, the first day of the month and the Sabbath, and Daniel sits in the gate of the king. Now, Daniel also kept the daily sacrifice by prayer. I was speaking in prayer at that time of the evening oblation. So the daily sacrifice also works on this principle, guys, where you have the morning sacrifice, okay, and that would, you give thanks, and that will go 12 hours, and then you come to evening, and at the evening time, you have another sacrifice, okay? So that's just like in the year. So in the first month, you have that time period of 6 months leading to the 7th month, leading for another 6 months coming back to the first month, okay? So the daily sacrifice matches this description. So let's take a step back and look at our notes again. So we see from Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, that there were lights, ma'or, in the firmament of heaven to divide the day and the night, to be signs and seasons, moedim, feasts, okay, for days and for years. Now, those signs can be expressed through eclipses, okay? We found those eclipses to be both solar and lunar eclipses. And what they are marking is a period of time, okay, starting with the blood moons, okay, in 2014, of the period of Passover. So that's in the first month, and then you have Tabernacles in the 7th month, okay? So this is going by order, first month, 7th month. So that's 1 year. Then once again, it repeats in 2015, first month, 7th month. That's another year. Then we have 2016 over here in the first month and the 7th month, okay? So that's 3 years. Now, this goes over a period of 10 years of these eclipses, but it starts on the first month and ends on the first month. So each one of the time periods that these are marking, they're for seasons, moedim. Now, a season would be the time period of 6 months, okay? So each one of these falls within a time period of 6 months. And it says, let there be lights. So the word in Hebrew for lights is the same word for lights in Exodus 15:14 with the menorah. Now, those same lights, okay, in order that we could see in a day, we can also see in our pattern here called the seven-sided stone. So just like before, how we saw a day, it begins with sundown. You have 12 hours, and then of nighttime, 12 hours of daylight. So that is 1 day. Okay, so 1 day. And then you have how many days in a week? 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's how the days, okay, 7 days are also years, because we can also use this to count the years, and we can see that the year is a period of time. We have yellow here of the summer. Okay, that's the season, and then winter season. So there's 6 months that relate to the 12 months. That's just like what we were telling you before, how a day is a year. Okay? So scripturally, there is an order to things, okay, of when certain things could happen. So these are just foundational things to understand the book of Revelation. So in the book of Revelation, we could see John was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, the Sabbath, and I heard a voice behind me, the voice of a trumpet. Okay, so there's a Sabbath day and a trumpet. And we consider that the Rosh Kodesh. Rosh means head, and Kodesh means month. Get that on the screen, Rosh Kodesh. And we call that new month. All right? So, as we said, the East Gate also meets the characteristics of this trumpet. Okay, so the trumpet is open on the Sabbath and on the first day of the first month. Okay, well, the East Gate is also open on the Sabbath and the first day of the first month. Now, the other thing we want to mention is that the pillar of cloud by day and the fire by night also is how the Most High leads by the times and the seasons, okay? So in Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 5, Yahweh creates a dwelling places in Zion, in her assemblies, a cloud and smoke by day, and a shining and flaming fire at night. Okay, so this is during the day, this is during the night. A tabernacle. In Hebrew, the word tabernacle here is sukkah or sukkot, which is the feast of Sukkot. Okay, in the daytime from the heat. Heat is the summertime. And a refuge and a covert from the storm and the rain. Actually, it's raining right now. You might be able to hear it in the background. So it's a covering and a covert from the winter. So you have the day, a cloud by day, and a fire by night. Okay, and then you have a tabernacle. You have a tabernacle that was set up. Moses set up the tabernacle in the first month. Okay, day. And there's the Feast of Tabernacles, which is in the 7th month. Okay, so there's a perfect order to these things. All right, so that's how we can see in the Enoch calendar. With the Enoch calendar here, in the first month, okay, the tabernacle was set, and then you have 6 months. In the 7th month, you have the Feast of Tabernacles, okay, and then you have 6 months. So summer, winter, and you have 12 hours, okay, daytime, 12 hours, nighttime. Now, the scripture talks about the trumpets being blown in the beginning of your months in Numbers chapter 10, verse 10. In the day of your gladness, in your solemn days, in your beginnings, Rosh. Okay, Rosh means head of your months, Kodesh. You shall blow with trumpets for a memorial before Elohim. Okay, so that's what it says, to blow the trumpets in the beginning of your months. Now we'll notice that there's 2 months that, okay, you have 12 months of the year, but there are 2 particular months that are highlighted, that are emphasized. That is the first month, which is Abib, and the 7th month, Tishri. So in Deuteronomy 16:1, it says, observe Aleph Tav, the month Kodesh of Abib. Now, what it's saying here is keep the month, all right, and keep Passover. So when you keep the month, you're not just doing Passover, you're also keeping the first day of the first month, okay? So it's telling us about the first month, Abib. Observe the month, observe the Kodesh of Abib, and keep the Passover. Exodus 12:2, this month is the beginning of your months. Beginning, Rosh, months, Kodesh, Rosh Kodesh. It's the first month of the year, making it clear so we wouldn't be confused, all right? Now, in Leviticus 23, it highlights the 7th month, okay, with this keeping of the months. So in the 7th month, in the first day of the month, you shall have a Sabbath, a memorial of shouting. All right, now it really says teruah, but we also consider teruah as a shout, also a blowing of the trumpets, a holy convocation. All right, so there we can see how the first month and 7th month have a status of emphasis placed on them. And we also see this in the millennium. In the millennium, the first month and 7th month, in Ezekiel chapter 45, verse 18, the translation I'm using here is called the Young's Literal Translation. It says, in the first month, in the first of the month, okay, in the first of the month, meaning the beginning of the month, there's a cleansing of the sanctuary. Then verse 20, and you shall do also on the 7th month, because each of you did err, and because you are simple, you shall purify or atonement the house. So it's doing this memorializing of the beginning of the month, okay, just like it says, blow the trumpets in the beginning of the month, all right? But in the millennium, when Christ reigns in the temple in the millennium, it's making indication of the first month and the 7th month, okay? Whether that's just a one-time thing, whatever, but we can see scripturally that there's an emphasis on the first month and 7th month. Why? Because it's kicking off a season, all right? So once the trumpet is blown, it's not just that month, but it's also highlighting that season, okay? A whole 6 months until it happens again, okay? Remember, there's no New Year's. Scripturally, there's no New Year's because you're emphasizing these 2 months. So in Leviticus there, 23, in the first day of the 7th month is a Sabbath. Now the word Sabbath here is Shabbaton. Actually, it's not Shabbat, it's Shabbaton. And it's used only like 10 or 11 times in the scripture. It's not a common word. It's used of the weekly Sabbath, used of Yom Kippur. It's used of the 7th year, the Shemitah year, okay? And the Feast of Trumpets. Okay, so that's why it's a Sabbath, okay? So therefore in Revelation 1:10, the Lord's day, he heard a loud voice of a trumpet. And then we can see in Revelation 4:1 with the first voice of a trumpet. So first voice, he could have just said, before when I heard, he didn't say that. He said the first or one voice of a trumpet. So that means that the first voice is the first day trumpet. Okay, so this is on the first day of the 7th month, not just any day, because you can see in the first day of the 7th month, the Shabbaton is emphasized. So that's why we conclude in Revelation 1:10, it's the Lord's day, the Shabbaton trumpet. Okay, and that's the 7th month. Okay, in Exodus 40, verse 1 and verse 17, you have the first day of the 1st month, the tabernacle was set up. Okay, remember before how we saw the tabernacle, over here, we saw the tabernacle of the sukkot of the daytime from the heat in the summer and from the refuge and covert from the storm, okay, the sukkot. So there's a tabernacle that you would set up, or you would do a tabernacle, okay, in the feast of the 1st month and the 7th month. So this is the idea, guys, of the parallel feast. Most of the things you'll see in the feast parallel themselves at the opposite time of the year. And the tabernacle is an example of that, okay? And we can see the tabernacle set up in Revelation 15:5. Behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was open, okay? Now we know this one is the first day of the 1st month because no man was able to enter the tabernacle. And this refers to Moses. Moses was unable to enter the tabernacle after a cloud covered it. So it describes that cloud and the glory of Yahweh filling the tabernacle, filling the temple in Revelation 15. So it is this that we are approaching. Because, guys, it's not, when you're reading the book of Revelation, the time is not just, people just throw numbers out randomly. No, it's a calendar, it's a schedule. So when you count 1,260 days, you're counting from the first day of the 7th month, or you're either counting from the first day of the 1st month, okay? That's only 2 times a year you're counting, on a calendar of the 1,260 days. It can be other things. It can be other feasts, yes, okay? But principally, you're counting those from, as you can see, all these cycles that we're showing you every 6 months, okay? So when the woman fled into the wilderness where she had a place prepared of God. You see, I highlighted this in orange just like I highlighted the tabernacle. She had a place prepared of God that they shall feed her there 1,260 days. So that place prepared to God, again, is language telling us about the first day of the 1st month, okay? So in this video, we have learned that the first day of the 1st month and the first day of the 7th month are emphasized throughout the scriptures so that we would know and we will understand that the book of Revelation does that likewise, okay? So if we were to look at, let's look at the calendar. Let's look at, where is it? This one, okay? If we look at this chart, okay, you got the 1st month here, and then you have 6 months, and you have the 7th month here, all right? And said, remember it said that the sun, the moon, the stars all contribute to the times and the seasons, okay? So all that contributes to the time. There's no 13 months. There's no 28 days. No. It's 12 months, 30 days, okay? So that is the calendar and then the timing, okay? And then we also have, as we explained, the eclipses marking the time perfectly. And we're approaching, okay, those 1,260 days, we're approaching the 1,335 days marked by a blood moon. So many things are marked by eclipses, okay? And that's why we're doing the series of videos to teach this. And so, guys, we have been having problems with the notes. It's not, I'm just copying and pasting. It's not me, it's YouTube. YouTube is just doing strange things to links and to notes. So the notes will be in the description field. If they don't work in the description field, I'll make a comment. And in the comment, it will also have the notes and the links to the series we're on. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the calendar. We're going to have upcoming videos. We're going to talk about the calendar. We're going to talk about the Most High, his calendar. We're going to release the calendar for the upcoming year. Okay. We're going to have many videos on that. And we're going to, release the calendar and teach. Now, remember, the year doesn't change until March. So March 17th is the first day of the first month. Okay. But there's a lot of work that goes in the calendar before we release the calendar. Okay. But we'll have some videos coming up explaining it to you once again. All right. There's a playlist with lots of videos. This video will be part of the calendar playlist. Okay. We are also in the 12th month. Okay. So just show you, okay, in the first month, the first day of the 12th month. So we're in the 12th month. Okay, that's the time we're in now. Okay, we're actually in the week of Abijah. Oh, excuse me. No, we're not. This is the 2021. This is not the 2020 calendar. This is not the right one. But I could still use this because basically the days of the week don't change. So the first day of the week is a Sunday. Okay, today's a Monday. All right, and that was a Sabbath. Okay. And then Purim is going to be the 15th day. So it's in 2 weeks' time from now, okay? So guys, thanks for watching. This is a series we've been on the prophecies of Daniel and Revelation. And we're also including this in the Enoch calendar playlist. And also the feasts of Yahweh in the millennium. Show them the design, show them the pattern. Okay, so thanks for watching. Fear God, give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come. And so worship him. Actually, worship him. In Revelation 15, you should get your harp and worship him. And give glory to him who made the heavens, the earth, the seas, and the fountains of waters. Amen.